Hashtag FBI and DEA raid. It was 3:12 a.m. The warehouse district was silent. Every loading dock was empty. Security lights illuminated rows of shipping containers. Nothing looked unusual. But according to investigators, one warehouse had been under surveillance for months. Commercial trucks kept arriving after midnight. They rarely stayed longer than 20 minutes. Some entered nearly empty. They left much heavier. Shipping records didn't explain the difference. Investigators also noticed something else. The same transportation companies appeared in several unrelated narcotics investigations. Different business names, different owners, but the same freight routes. The pattern became impossible to ignore. For months, surveillance teams watched every truck, every delivery, every employee, every late-night movement. Then thermal imaging revealed unusual heat beneath one section of the warehouse. The building should have been empty. Something underground wasn't. That was enough. Federal investigators obtained a search warrant. Before sunrise, the operation began. Unmarked vehicles quietly entered the industrial park. Agents surrounded the warehouse. Every entrance was secured. No sirens, no public warning. The operation relied on surprise. Within minutes, investigators entered the building. Employees were safely escorted outside while search teams moved through the warehouse. At first, everything appeared normal. Shelves were filled with commercial supplies. Forklifts stood parked near the loading docks. Office computers displayed shipping schedules. Nothing immediately explained why investigators had spent months preparing for this operation. Then one agent noticed fresh scrape marks beneath a large steel storage rack. The rack looked permanently bolted to the floor. It wasn't. Workers carefully moved it aside. Beneath it sat a reinforced steel hatch, almost invisible. The edges blended perfectly into the concrete floor. Ventilation pipes disappeared below ground. Electrical wiring entered sealed conduits. Investigators immediately realized this wasn't an ordinary storage compartment. The hatch was opened. Cool air rushed upward. A steel ladder disappeared into darkness. Flashlights illuminated reinforced concrete walls below. One by one, investigators climbed down. The tunnel stretched far beyond the warehouse. Concrete walls, steel supports, ventilation systems, electrical lighting, drainage channels, even rails designed to move heavy carts. According to investigators, the tunnel showed an extraordinary level of engineering. It wasn't built overnight. It likely required months of planning, perhaps even longer. The deeper investigators moved, the more sophisticated the construction became. Hidden cameras monitored sections of the passage. Electrical panels controlled lighting. Communication cables ran through the walls. Then the tunnel opened into a larger underground chamber. Industrial carts remained parked beside several commercial containers. Some appeared empty. Others remained sealed. Evidence technicians documented everything before opening the first container. Inside, investigators discovered concealed compartments hidden behind legitimate cargo. According to authorities, similar concealment methods have been used in documented cross-border smuggling investigations. The discovery confirmed investigators' suspicions. This wasn't simply a hidden tunnel. It was part of a carefully planned transportation system. But one question still remained. Where did the tunnel actually lead? That answer would become the next chapter of the investigation. Chapter 2. Following the tunnel. Investigators moved deeper underground. Every step was photographed. Every wall was measured. Every piece of evidence was documented. The tunnel didn't end beneath the warehouse. It continued beneath neighboring industrial buildings. Engineers used mapping equipment to trace its direction. According to investigators, the passage was carefully designed to avoid major utility lines. That level of planning immediately stood out. The tunnel wasn't built quickly. It had likely taken months to construct. Evidence teams continued searching the underground chamber. Tool marks covered several concrete walls. Ventilation fans were still running. Electrical panels supplied power throughout the tunnel. Investigators also recovered communication equipment. Each item was tagged for forensic examination. Back inside the warehouse, another team focused on paperwork. Shipping manifests, delivery logs, business invoices. Most documents appeared ordinary, but small inconsistencies began to emerge. Several freight records contained matching delivery windows. Some vehicle numbers appeared repeatedly. Certain shipments followed nearly identical routes. On their own, those details meant very little. Together, they suggested careful coordination. Digital forensic specialists then began examining office computers. Investigators searched emails, invoices, and shipment databases. The goal wasn't just to understand the warehouse. It was to understand the entire network. Meanwhile, Engineers reached another section of the tunnel. This area looked different. The walls showed signs of recent construction. Fresh concrete covered older repairs. Steel supports had been reinforced. Investigators believed the passage had been expanded over time. According to authorities, sophisticated smuggling tunnels uncovered in past federal investigations often evolve as criminal groups adapt to law enforcement efforts. The tunnel itself was only one piece of the investigation. The documents, the computers, the financial records, those would reveal whether other locations were connected. Above ground, additional search teams arrived. Nearby warehouses were examined. Commercial vehicles were photographed. Surveillance footage from surrounding businesses was collected. Investigators now faced a much larger question. Was this an isolated operation? Or was it one link in a much broader network? That answer would depend on what investigators discovered next. To be continued. Chapter 3. The network revealed by late afternoon, the investigation had grown far beyond a single warehouse. Investigators had processed hundreds of photographs. Dozens of evidence boxes were prepared for forensic analysis. Every document, every computer, every communication device, everything was carefully cataloged. According to investigators, the underground tunnel was only one part of a much larger operation. Financial analysts compared business records recovered from the warehouse with banking information obtained during the investigation. Patterns began to emerge. Several companies shared the same suppliers. Some listed identical delivery schedules. Others appeared connected through common transportation contractors. Digital forensic specialists continued examining computers recovered during the search. Emails, shipping databases, electronic invoices, GPS records. Each file added another piece to the puzzle. Investigators also reviewed surveillance footage collected from nearby businesses. Several commercial trucks appeared repeatedly over multiple weeks. The vehicles arrived late at night. They left before sunrise. Their routes closely matched information found in shipping records. According to investigators, those similarities suggested careful planning rather than coincidence. Meanwhile, engineers completed their inspection of the tunnel, the reinforced walls, the ventilation system, the electrical network. Everything pointed to a structure designed for long-term use. Investigators believed the tunnel had likely been expanded over time. Fresh concrete covered older repairs. New support beams had been added in several sections. Maintenance equipment recovered underground suggested the passage had been regularly serviced. Above ground, additional warehouses were searched. Commercial vehicles were photographed. Storage units were inspected. Investigators compared property records across the industrial district. The goal was no longer to understand one building. It was to identify every possible connection. According to authorities, complex smuggling investigations often rely on thousands of small pieces of evidence rather than one dramatic discovery. A receipt, a phone number, a delivery log, a security camera. On their own, they reveal very little. Together, they can expose an entire network. As the operation came to an end, evidence trucks departed the warehouse one by one. Investigators remained behind to complete the final documentation. The industrial district slowly returned to normal. Loading docks reopened. Traffic resumed. From the outside, the warehouse looked exactly as it had before. But beneath the concrete floor, investigators had uncovered infrastructure that changed the direction of the entire investigation. According to authorities, the discovery demonstrated how organized criminal groups can hide sophisticated operations behind the appearance of ordinary commercial activity. It also highlighted the patience required for major federal investigations. Months of surveillance, thousands of records, countless hours of analysis, all leading to one hidden entrance beneath an ordinary warehouse. The tunnel may have been concealed, but according to investigators, the evidence it contained revealed a much bigger story. And for everyone involved, the investigation was far from over.